Hello and welcome to Deep Dive on NewsX World. I'm Asuma Katauka. Today we are diving into the controversy between Disney and ByteDance over AI-generated content. This legal clash raises key questions about intellectual property, AI, and the future of content creation. Let's break it down. It all started when Disney fired the first legal shot. Disney has sent a cease and desist order to ByteDance, accusing them of using AI technology to generate videos that mimic Disney's content without permission. Disney's issue is ByteDance's AI-powered video tool CDance 2.0, which is being accused of violating intellectual property rights and exploiting copyrighted content. Disney's legal counsel has described this as willful, pervasive, and totally unacceptable. The platform is reportedly treating Disney's IP from Star Wars to Marvel as if it were free public domain clip art. ByteDance isn't backing down. They've pledged to add safeguards to CDance 2.0 to prevent unauthorized IP usage. This could include stricter controls over what content the AI can generate and limiting the ability to recreate copyrighted works. CDance 2.0 allows users to create content that closely mimics existing material. While a creative tool, it raises legal red flags. ByteDance's attempt to comply with copyright laws will be tested by the fast-evolving nature of AI technology. The question, will these safeguards be enough to prevent further copyright infringements? Let's consider the bigger picture. Disney's legal action is part of a growing trend where content creators are closely monitoring AI that can replicate their intellectual property. The future of AI in the entertainment industry is on the line, with AI tools like CDance 2.0 offering new possibilities for storytelling but also posing challenges regarding intellectual property protection. This case raises fundamental questions about the balance between AI innovation and copyright protection. In the short term, companies like Disney will be vigilant about defending their intellectual property, leading to more legal challenges and potentially stricter regulations for AI technologies. On the flip side, AI companies like ByteDance must balance innovation with legal compliance. ByteDance's pledge is a step forward, but as AI evolves, these safeguards will need constant upgrades and updates to stay ahead of new content generation methods. In the long run, this case could set a precedent for how AI-generated content is treated under copyright law. Will it create clear guidelines for AI usage, or will it lead to a more complex legal landscape? But for now, all eyes are on ByteDance and Disney. Will ByteDance's safeguards prevent future IP infringements? Will Disney win the legal resolution it's seeking? And most importantly, what does this mean for the future of AI-generated content? Now for this, we welcome Professor Jim Rice. He's joining us live from Philippines. Thank you very much, Professor, for joining us again. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Asuma.
Thank you. Now, looking at this, while ByteDance has pledged to strengthen safeguards to prevent the unauthorized generation of copyrighted characters, does Disney's cease and desist specifically target the latent space of the modeling, arguing that the very existence of pirated library within the training data constitutes a virtual smash and grab, or is the legal strategy primarily focused on the infringing outputs created by the users?
Well, I think it's the latter. Those are very good questions. And as you mentioned in your lead-in, this is a very rapidly evolving story. And the technology is overtaking, I think, the law in this case. If I recall, during the Biden administration, there was legislation that was passed in order to rein in ByteDance. And then when Trump came into power last year, he disregarded this legislation, this law, in favor of trying to do a deal with ByteDance, and obviously this has failed. And this is another example where Trump's dalliance and his fooling around with big tech is threatening not only national security but also large industries like Disney and Marvel and other organizations that jealously guard their intellectual property.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And Professor, now given that the Japanese government has launched its own investigation into ByteDance for anime-related violations, alongside Disney's US-based claims, to what extent does this case signal a move towards a multilateral regulatory framework for Gen AI?
Well, I really hope that the Japanese government takes their own initiative, independent of the Trump administration. And I also look to the European Union in their own efforts in terms of, for example, it's not exactly on this area, but Australia and other countries have tried to limit the exposure to social media to only those over 16 years old, because they've seen how toxic this can be. And although this isn't exactly on your topic, I think that this is a very important area in which nations such as Japan and the European Union need to stand up to big tech for their own national security as well as their own intellectual property rights.
Yes, Professor, thank you very much for giving that example. Now, how will ByteDance's response to Disney's cease and desist impact the standard for duty of care regarding AI platforms that facilitate the synthesis of protected likenesses and trademarked franchises?
Exactly. Well, again, we've already seen, for example, again, slightly off your topic, but just last month, I believe, Elon Musk's Grok, the manifestation of Elon Musk's AI, has been criticized and attacked for its illicit use of reproducing or reality of individuals, sometimes young women and sometimes in undressed positions, and this has been problematic, and Grok has been facing legal challenges from mostly the EU. So in terms of your exact question, all I can say is that the intellectual property has been constantly, for many, many years, robbed and ripped off by the People's Republic of China. And quite frankly, if they follow in their pattern, they're not going to change now.
Right. And last but not least, Professor, now, considering the rapid growth of AI in content creation, how do you envision the future of collaboration between traditional content creators like Disney and emerging AI-driven platforms like ByteDance?
That's a good question. I wish I knew the answer to that. On a personal note, my wife runs a small animation company. And she produces, her company and her illustrators produce animations. And I really would hope that there would be a kind of collaboration between AI and smaller animators in places like the Philippines. But quite frankly, I doubt it, because it seems to me that the role of big tech and AI in the hands of people like ByteDance and Elon Musk is basically predatory and dangerous. So I'm very skeptical of this.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Professor Jim Rice for joining us today from vegan and sharing that insight. Thank you.